So California just runs off the rails and decides they're going to ban the sale of new Glock pistols after July 1st, 2026. And that would have been bad enough. But then Glock, through some really kind of strange announcement protocol, says, well, wait a minute, we might be changing up some of what we're doing and making and things like that. The internet is blowing up and it is going crazy. And I can't count how many people I have had to say, we don't know everything yet. We don't have all the answers. Glock has not betrayed you. Gavin Newsom betrayed you. California lawmakers, even California voters betrayed you. This has been crazy. So, quick recap. The Glock switch, which is absolutely illegal, turns a Glock pistol into a machine gun. Makes it fire fully automatic. In order to stop that atrociousness, Gavin Newsom and his political party out in California decided to ban the sale of Glock pistols. As if tomorrow or on July 2nd, there would be no Glocks with switches in the hands of gang members in California.
I don't know how many things I can do to express my frustration. If I had glasses, I would take them off and go like this. I'll have to settle for... All right. Before we go any further, I want to throw a few markers down, okay? A, like you said, we don't really know what's going on, but that's never going to stop the internet, correct?
Right.
B, I want everyone to remember that getting mad makes people high. They love it. Don't take, that's why I joked. Don't take this away from me, Kevin.
Yeah.
I need to be mad about this.
I gotta be angry.
So we have a combination of people who already like arguing about guns on the internet. Now they get this. Now they act as if nothing like this has ever happened before.
Oh, yeah.
This is the fault of Glock. Whatever it is. They don't know. They don't know, but they don't like it. So I would say A, this in some ways reminds me of when old man Ruger passed away. Remember that?
Yeah.
And stuff started changing very quickly when old man Ruger went to his reward.
Uncle Bill.
All of a sudden, Ruger was making AR-15s. Ruger was making magazines that held more than 10 rounds. Ruger was doing all kinds of things that the old man never would have flown when the old man was around, right? And we lost old man Glock a while back. Our copy chief, I remember once we were editing an article about Glocks, and she said, boy, you know, sometimes I forget Glock is like a real guy, and he's like still alive right now. Like, yeah, he is. That's a real guy.
He's still out there.
So we lost old man Glock, and anyone who'd been paying attention when we lost old man Ruger should have understood that stuff was going to start changing that fast.
Right.
There was going to be a whole backlog of stuff, not while the old man's around.
Nope, there's stuff that Bill Ruger did not want to do, and he wasn't going to do it because his name was on the wall.
Right.
And good for them.
So that's in this situation as well, that the old man, God rest him, he has passed. So now a bunch of stuff that was going to happen as soon as he passed away has started happening. That's involved in this. I'm also reminded, and I'm not old enough to really remember this, but I was at least pro-gun, or as pro-gun as a kid in his single-digit years could be at the time. You remember a company called Intertech?
Yes.
Okay. Intertech made something that was marketed in this country as, where do you think I'm going with this?
Yeah. As a semi-auto pistol, you know,
called the Tech 9.
Yeah, Tech 9.
Or interdynamic something or whatever. But the feds said, hey, this open bolt pistol that you sell is, by our arbitrary standard, whatever, you're not going to trick me into acting like I like the NFA because I don't. But the feds said, this is too easy to convert into a machine gun, so we are going to declare these something, and you have to change your design. So, in addition to everything else I listed, the old man is finally gone, in the minds of some people who work there at least.
Yeah.
And in everything you said, it's not that the people in charge of California specifically hate the fact that a switch that is smuggled in illegally from China can be installed on Glock, but they hate guns, and they want to shut down all the different gun companies that they can. Atop that is maybe Glock has decided that, and we don't know what's happening, but maybe they've decided that they don't want anything to do with a conversation with the BATFE about ease of conversion or anything like that. And maybe, again, we don't know, maybe there were a bunch of changes in the works that, by gum, not while I'm alive, whatever the Austrian equivalent is of that. Maybe this was just an advantageous time to say, look, listen, California, whatever, we know, but you are an enormous market for guns. We just so happen to have this new Glock coming out.
Right.
And we don't know, maybe not. It'll be much harder to convert with the switches that are being imported by the tens of thousands from China.
Yes, illegally installed. And, you mentioned it the other day when we were talking about this. What we really need to do is put some people in prison who are using the switches. Let's start with that. And I don't know, maybe we jumped in the middle and we didn't do a quick enough recap for everybody. Okay, so Glocks can be converted to fully auto with a switch. People are manufacturing them and importing them, and bad guys are installing this switch and turning their Glocks into full auto pistols. That's bad. They're spraying bullets all over the place. I get that. Okay. Good, honest, law-abiding gun owners are not causing problems with Glock switches. So I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt and say well-meaning lawmakers, but they're not well-meaning lawmakers. I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt.
No, they have left no doubt.
Yeah. These lawmakers decided that we got to do something about that. They're going to wring their hands. They're going to make Glock pistols illegal. And that will stop people from installing Glock switches. But it won't in California. Let's first address that. It won't unless law enforcement officers are going to go house to house and round up all of the Glock pistols that are currently there.
And guess what they would probably also like to do?
Yeah.
This is one of those things where they're going to try to get this situation a little bit pregnant. Where it'll be like, yeah, well, but now, of course, now that this has happened, you know what we have to do. Now we have to go around and collect all of your Glock pistols.
Right.
And anybody who says that's ridiculous hasn't spent much time listening to very anti-gun people.
They say ridiculous things, and they try to make them happen.
And they mean it.
Yeah, absolutely. And they work hard to try to make them happen. And they got this law passed, which in effect bans the sale of new Glock pistols after July 1st, 2026. And I don't know if it was directly as a result of that law, but suddenly, just in the last couple of days, we start hearing that Glock version V, that they're going to discontinue the standard version, Gen 3 through 5 of standard Glock pistols, the double stack, 17s, 19s, 22s, 23s, things like that. And they're going to roll out this version V. Glock has told us nothing about it. Not what it is, not what's happening, not how they're changing it, nothing. But the very fact that Glock said, well, we're going to roll out this version V. They may have been working on it for years. I don't know. Right. They've been working on a Gen 6 since they launched the Gen 5. I know it because new and improved is the way of the marketplace. We're going to make it better. We're going to work on this. But then watching these people just freak out and Glock has betrayed us. Look at what they're doing.
Nothing's easier than telling somebody else how to spend their money.
Right.
Obviously. And just to reiterate, few things, at least to these folks, are more fun than arguing on the internet.
Right.
They have no skin in this game. And I remember how much fun it was to hate on Bill Ruger. I wasn't even old enough to buy guns, but I was like, I'll never buy anything from Bill Ruger. Yeah. Like, okay, well, you read an angry letter to the editor in a magazine you saw at the dentist's office, and you have no skin in the game. You're not even old enough to buy a gun, and this is fun to be mad about. Mm-hmm. But that stuff can fester.
You're right.
And for somebody to say, like, well, Glock's betrayed me, really? He's just not fun to hang out with anymore. What are you even talking about? Like,
yeah,
you haven't been betrayed by anybody. You've been, like you said, betrayed by anti-American people who are in charge of California, unfortunately.
Right.
And
the voters who keep electing them. We have to say that.
Oh, don't even get me started on if you vote for anti-gun politicians and you're angry about this, save it.
Yeah.
Not interested. But I feel we need to reiterate again, we don't even know what's going on right now.
Do you know someone who currently doesn't have enough guns? Or worse yet, a person who doesn't own a single gun? You can get these people the help they so desperately need. Simply share this video with them and everyone else. Tell them to click on the link and you can enter for your chance to win a free gun. That's right. It's just that easy. Click on the link, enter to win a free gun, send this to somebody who doesn't have enough guns. No one should have fewer guns than they want. Everyone deserves the chance to win a free gun. Click the link, enter to win, then share this video with everyone who needs or wants another gun. You can make a difference. Please share this video. Right. We're waiting to hear what the design changes will be. I'm sure there will be a public relations campaign. I'm sure there will be a marketing campaign, an announcement, something like that. But by virtue of the fact that Glock is making some sort of changes to allow them to continue to do business in what is it, the world's fourth largest economy or something like that, the California marketplace. Okay, they're in business to stay in business.
They're in business to stay in business. And also, we haven't even brought up how much of the knockoff market that they have to compete with.
Right.
How many Gen 3 Glocks can you get? Ruger just released a wonderful pistol, of which we are all very fond. And it's a Glock that isn't made by Glock.
Right.
So that, I would imagine, also had a lot to do with this. Not this specific decision, but the fact that whatever is being rolled out was in the works for quite a while. Was, look, man, they're giving it away for $239.99 on sale. It's maybe time to make something else. Not that many people maybe will pay for Glock Perfection when they can get something that at least feels very similar in the hand for half the money. And
functions in a very similar way. And getting back to this righteous indignation or manufactured outrage or something like that going on there, not going all the way back to 1989 when Ruger put out his letter. Think about 2000 when Smith & Wesson agreed with the Clinton administration, hey, we're going to make some changes to our guns. And people were up in arms. They're never going to ever buy a Smith & Wesson product ever again. They're putting those hammer block safeties on and all the other. And you know what? It sucks that guns are the most regulated industry in America. It shouldn't have to be that way, but it is, and we have to deal with it. And we need to be able to separate our anger at the politicians and maybe even our anger at ourselves for allowing our politicians to do this and the real world consequences of gun companies trying to stay in business, dealing with, 24,000 different gun laws or something like that they have to deal with. Okay, Glock announced some changes. We don't know what they are. I can't be mad about them yet. I bet nobody at Glock said, we need to make these changes so that we can make these pistols less reliable and less accurate. Nobody's saying that.
Right. It's funny you brought up the Hillary hole.
Yeah.
The Smith & Wesson locks. 2000, right?
Yep.
Just like anyone who's old enough to buy a gun today, in 25 years, you would do almost anything to get back the body that you have right now.
Right.
If you're healthy.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, if you're in a wheelchair now and you're not in a wheelchair in 25 years, that's not true. But generally, that's an old adage I remember from a past life when I became a health teacher, right? In retrospect, when compared to the state of California has just banned the sale of new Glocks starting July 1st, or whatever it is, 2026, that Hillary hole was actually kind of inobtrusive. Unobtrusive? Inobtrusive?
Unobtrusive. I'd go with un.
Okay. I'm the book report major.
Yeah.
I should know that stuff. But yeah, in retrospect, just like, when you're 50 and you look back at a picture of yourself when you're 25, you think, well, I guess I wasn't in that bad shape like I thought I was then. Looking back, that was not a particularly onerous thing to be imposed on a company compared to, or we could just say that it's not for sale in our state.
Yeah.
We could do that too. I'm not saying that I agree with the Hillary hole or that I agree with the law that's happening in California or that I agree with any of these ridiculous laws. I agree with locking up people who have shown themselves to be violent criminals and maybe not even ever letting them out.
Right.
But let's maintain some perspective and remind ourselves again, we don't know what's happening yet. We don't know.
Yeah. Some of the things I've heard from people who I believe to be knowledgeable talk about perhaps the creation of a different extractor and a different red dot sight plate on the top of the slide and internally the cruciform inside there might be some internal design changes. that are put together to work in there. I don't think that's going to make as big a difference as people are throwing their hands up in the air about this right here is a Gen 1 Glock Model 22 because San Antonio PD has the best rummage sales. That's how I got this gun. And this Gen 1 Glock Model 22 is not all that different to all of the changes that have taken us all the way up through the Gen 5 new beaver tail and different things like that. They still function. They still go bang. They still stop bad guys. They're good, solid guns. I believe they're going to be good, solid guns in the future.
They do. And if they really are doing what everyone on the internet says is happening, they're going to discontinue the Gen 3, which is my favorite. Maybe it is one of those, you know what, the last VW Beetle has rolled off the assembly line in Mexico City in 1990 or whatever that was that finally happened. Maybe it is that moment where like, well, you know what, I'm sorry, you can no longer get a car with a CD player in it or whatever.
Yeah.
And I hate change. Most people do, at least change when it comes to things that I like. But we'll see.
Yeah.
And I know that people still want to be mad about this, and they wanted to hear something other than we don't know, and they wanted to hear something other than we'll see. We're the ones who are here to actually inform you. Like, we're not here to sell clickbait. We're not here to just make you angrier or tell you what you want to hear. Nobody knows. There's a few people who know, and they all work at Glock.
Right.
And they're not talking.
Yeah. If you're watching right now and you want to give up your job at Glock and get fired, please send us the specs for what's going to happen, because I would love to know. I would love to be the first person to know. It's that journalist in me. I'm following this. I am not seeing it as the sky is falling. I'm seeing it as a very onerous, dubious, terrible legal precedent being set by the state of California, and we should not have laws like that.
Right.
Lawmakers should not do that kind of crap to us. They should not impose it on the gun industry, because that's not how you solve crime. And on July 2nd, 2026, there will be just as many Glocks equipped with switches as there were on June 30th, 2026 in the state of California. And the only people this is impacting are guys like you and me who follow the law, because those thugs, those criminals, those gangbangers are out there breaking the law, and they don't care. And unless you're going to their house, and nobody wants to do that, and just knock on their, excuse me, could you please turn over all of your illegal firearms?
Or
Thank
maybe
you.
just go pick them up when they show them off on Twitter or any Instagram. Yeah. There's so many pictures of these guys with their switches. Like, I bet that if we're you and I to do an Instagram or do a video on Twitter or YouTube and showing off the illegally manufactured machine guns that we were so proud to have, I bet we'd get some visitors.
Yeah, I bet someone with a badge would call us and say, hey, what's going on?
So maybe before you go after one of the most popular firearms in the United States of America that is, by the numbers, almost entirely used for lawful purposes, maybe go after the people who have made it their business to illegally procure illegally manufactured machine guns and wave them around on the internet.
Right. And use them. I mean, even if you're the person who says, well, we should not even have a restriction on machine guns. Okay. All right. We hate the NFA and machine guns should be legal for private ownership in the U.S. You still can't use them to rob people, because the robbing people part, the murdering people part.
The spraying bullets into a crowd of people part is the issue.
Yeah, that is wrong and should be dealt with harshly. People who do that should be punished harshly. This law isn't going to stop that.
No.
This California ban on Glock pistols isn't going to stop that. What are all the cops in California going to do with all of their Gen 3 through 5 Glock pistols?
Well, do you remember when first time I saw one of these was like 99, the first LCD screens in cars?
Yes.
Remember those?
Yep.
Those were illegal
unless
you were a cop.
Yeah.
And you can't talk on your cell phone while driving unless you're a cop. And you can't. I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
Guess what? The cops are still going to be able to use whatever they want.
Yeah. And have that out there right now. So long and short, thank you for talking with me about this, Ed. But the long and short is we don't have the answers yet. We will work really hard to try to get you the answers to what's going on out there. But I can assure you this, that, and I don't often make assurances like this. I don't believe that the people at Glock have betrayed the consumer by making a design change to their gun, even if the only reason they made that design change was because of a stupid law in California. We still have to follow stupid laws. If we don't, we get arrested. And you know what? What we need to do is solve that issue at the ballot box and make sure that we don't have stupid lawmakers making stupid laws, which then get foisted upon us and we have to follow them. So I'm not going to advocate for people breaking the law. I can't do it. It's a dumb law. It shouldn't have been passed, but it was. Now we have to deal with it.
They ruined gas cans and now they're doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot, Ed.